Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Welcome to the BitLab Academy daily stream. My name is Kellam. Welcome to the show. You can find all my information right there at Kellam, Kelly, Kellam. Make sure you look for that blue check and that hit logo. Let's get this going, man. I'm feeling grateful today. I'm feeling happy. I'm feeling fresh. Moved into my new apartment here in Atlanta, actually in the Woodstock area. And you know what? Sometimes a change of scenery, a change of environment, a change of just the atmosphere around you, if you really tune into what it is you have, the skills you have, the friends, the family, the opportunity that lies at your feet, even if you are in your darkest moment, if you're focused on the dark, you'll never see the light. If you're in your darkest moment, remember, there is light somewhere. Maybe you just need to change your focus, change your position. You may be in the middle of a dark tunnel facing the wall versus angling yourself 7 feet to the right, or 45 or 80, 90 degrees to the right, and you see, oh, there's light at the end of the tunnel. And had you not changed, all you're looking at is the black wall, and you think there's no light at the end of the tunnel for you. And so I'm not saying I was in that position, but I'll tell you, man, I feel absolutely refreshed with my new apartment. Feels like a home. I started fresh. I left all my stuff, the only thing I didn't leave in New York was for some reason this is shaking. The only thing I didn't leave in New York was my clothes. So I had to start. It was a very expensive move, but I started fresh, and I've never had the opportunity to do that, where you start in a new place, new home, everything brand new. I'm talking from cups to bowls to plates to pans to towels to shower curtains, shower lining, furniture. Every single thing in there. And you know what? I figured it was a good opportunity to practice what I preach here on the channel. And what I did was I took some profits out of the market, and I allowed myself, I don't know why it's so hard. It's so hard to take profits on crypto, because all we want to think about is how far it could go. But you know what? I had something going on in life. I was moving, and I could either take some profits and provide myself some liquidity from all this time that I spend in the lab, on the charts, in the exchanges, trading, investing, making decisions. And if you don't ever allow that to affect what you're doing in life, then what the hell are you doing it for? So I took some money out of the market and decided I wasn't going to put it on a credit card. Some may argue that may have been smarter because the market's about to run. But you know what? I'm confident, because I've done it before, that I can basically give myself that liquidity to pay things cash and do exactly what I preach, is use these charts, use these signals, use the structures I'm seeing in price action, use the indicators that we sell, use all the knowledge that I have in this market to start with a very small base and build this up over time along with you all. So I'm going to be starting with about $6,000. I have a little bit of a hodl bank that I don't ever touch. I make myself forget that I even have it so that I don't access it. But I'm going to be starting with $5,000 or $6,000, and I'm going to turn that $5,000 or $6,000 into 100 plus. And I'm going to do that with all of you here. So if you guys want to see that, if you guys want to participate in that, if you guys want to be a part of that, and you want to be on this journey, throw a 1 in chat. Let's make this happen. You know what? I'm excited. And I'm grateful for each and every one of you. So I shouted out a lot of you early in chat. I'm going to be trying to get the stream going every day, where it's just the hold screen there for about 15 minutes. We'll be chatting. I'll be, chirping in your ear here and there, saying some things. But the stream is going to be starting where we're actually on camera at 10:15 a.m. Eastern time every day moving forward. There's just so much that needs to be done here. It's not just when I'm on stream. We have the BitLab Academy, we have content, we have meetings here in office. We have so much going on all the time. Even though it's only 15 minutes, I'll tell you what, ask Tyler Durden, who was here in chat, who was here in the studio last week. We are all running at 42 cylinders that are, all day long, every day. So I need that extra 15 minutes. But With that being said, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, join us in this community. None of you are followers. You're all meaningful parts of this community. I am following you as much as you're following me. We are a community. That's what this is about. So we've got a lot of stuff to cover today. We are off Friday because I was moving into my new pad. I will do a little bit of a tour there. I still got a couple more pieces I need to set up there. I have my home studio that I need to set up, and my TVs, and there's some things that are coming throughout the week. So everybody hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding that bell, and let's go ahead and rock this. Let's get this moving. Let's jump in here. So first things first, make sure you're following the correct Kelly Kellam. If the real Kelly Kellam would please stand up. That's me right here. Let me stand up. And everybody, come over to my page. Hit that. You look for that blue check mark. Look for that hit logo that you see there on my name. Make sure you're following me. I share a lot of stuff there regularly. And now that I was so slammed with this last couple of weeks, moving to Atlanta, getting things, house hunting, everything. Now I can get in the Discord. And I want each and every one of you that's in this chat to get in the Discord. There's a free section there, which I'm going to be a lot more active in. And of course, there's the paid premium section that is for the BitLab Academy members. So make sure you're following me. It's right here. Look for the blue check. Look for the hit logo. Kelly Kellam, Kelly Kellam. There's only one. Make sure you're not following any of the scam impersonator accounts. Now, let me go ahead and move this over here. I'm going to go ahead and let me set up my screen for a second. Pop the chat out so I can see what you all are saying. Okay, there we go. Now I can see what's up. All right. Now, make sure you head over to BitLab Academy's page, which is right here. Give us a follow at Academy BitLab. I'm going to be posting a lot more regularly on this now that I can focus. And of course, if you haven't yet, if you're ever feeling lost or you ever want to take your education further, or you want to, it's a great thing for friends and family. If they're not sure about what's going on, you can get them signed up for the free, basically beginners course here, which lets them really breaks down blockchain 101, Bitcoin 101, and there's a whole crypto beginners course as well. And then of course, if you want to take your education further, click here, click either of these buttons, enroll now. You can see there's the free sign up. This is all access to all the courses you can still use. I'm turning it off this evening. Give me 30 gives you 30% off your first month. Or if you want everything we got, the indicators, all access to courses, and the premium Discord. This gets you premium Discord too, by the way. You want everything, sign up right here and you get about 30% off every month rather than paying over $100 a month. We keep the price under $100. So there's no extra coupon code on that because you're getting the discount every month. If you're already a member and you want to upgrade, just make sure you're logged in, hit on this, add this to your cart. When you sign up for this, it'll discontinue the payments on the other stuff. It'll give you 50% off your first month because you're already a member, and then it'll be $97 a month after that. But with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into what we're talking about today. First things first. Let's go ahead and look at what's going on with the Google Trends. This is not something we talk about much when we're in the bear market, of course, but when we're starting a bullish impulse, when we're starting to see what's going on, we want to look at every piece of data that we can. Data is your friend as an investor and as a trader. The more in tune with data, not just price action, but other seems like almost surface level, almost just barely correlated things like Google search trends. Why do we care about this? Because you can see, look at these peaks. These peaks are basically front running where the top of the market is. And we're seeing, look how low we are currently on the Google search trends. Now, what we want to see is when the market starts heating up, we want to watch for when this explodes and this 100% level, this is a percentage point on the left. We want to see this explode and actually make this shrink down. What do I mean by shrink down? Well, if we come over here, let's go to this chart right here. If we come over here on the weekly and we zoom out, let me double click on this, we can see at one point, this was, oh my God, I cannot believe it got this high. But as we go out and you see how this expands higher, and now this previous, what was an astronomical high now seems much lower. And when you zoom out on this, you see each one of these peaks, which at that time was unbelievably high, gets it gets lower as you zoom out. Same thing's going to happen with the Google search trends here. When we get the new, there's so few people, there's such a small percentage of the world that's involved with crypto as it stands right now. In the US, I think it's around 17%. And I don't know if I have these organized in the right order. Yeah, so no, that's not it. It's right. These are some of the things we're going to be talking about today. Let's see. I don't know. We'll find it. But there's only about 17% of the people in the U.S. that have actively engaged in crypto. But we want to why is it so important when we're looking forward? Everybody's saying the market's still questionable. We're still going to go down. You know, there's no telling what's going to happen with inflation. We see UK just had inflation, the debt overshadow. What's the word I'm looking? Not overshadow. We've seen the debt eclipse how much the GDP is in the UK for the first time. And it's just incredible. And we're seeing the US debt rose $700 billion in just 3 weeks' time. And they're talking about themselves being fiscally responsible. This is just a crock of, you know what the word is there. But this is why there's such a small percentage of the global population that's involved in Bitcoin as it stands right now. And in the US alone, only about 17% of the populace has engaged with crypto. Okay, let me go ahead and pull up my Discord because it's got a ding in my ear. I just want to make sure. Okay. Alex Green says, can you run a poll for a meetup in Atlanta at the start of October? Yes, we can run a poll. Let's run a poll right now. Let's go ahead and end this poll first. This poll currently says we have, where is it at? 54% of you. The majority thinks that we're going to have a breakout and then continuation up, meaning no more significant dip. Only 27% think there's going to be a liquidity washout down and then up. 17% of you think that we're at the top of this local range and we're going to break down from here. Let's go ahead and run the other poll. Let's say ATL, meet up in ATL. We can do at the studio. We can have you guys in the lab in, was it beginning of October? Go ahead and do this. This is a wrong thing. Start a poll. There we go. Now make sure you hit the right one here because I'm doing 2 yeses. Yes, sounds cool. Yes, sounds cool. And I can make it. Okay, answer honestly here. Let's see. So there's the poll. Now let's go ahead and dive back in here to what is going on. And shout out to Army Piper in the chat. Hey, Army Piper, let me know if you're interested. You want to come on and do some TA tomorrow? We could talk some charts, get your perspective on some things. Shout out for the super chats as well. I appreciate you, my brother. I'm definitely going to look at the MACD on the monthly. Congrats on your new plays. Time to grind. You know what? It is time to grind. If you are anybody that's in this chat right now, anybody that's watching live, if you are ready to grind, let me know. Let's have a season. Let's make it our habit to grind. Let's do it together. Let's make this happen. Now, I'm going to pull over here. I want to see. Okay, we got 181 people in the room, 91 likes. Let's double those likes right now. Everybody that's watching, everybody that's listening, if you're in the chat on your mobile, exit out of the chat, hit that like button, come back. If you're watching on your computer, there's no reason why you can't hit that like button. Help support crypto by engaging with this channel. You're helping not just this channel, but all of crypto. Now, coming over here back to this, we have so much room to grow. That's why I'm talking about the Google search trends right now. We're at a bottom here while there's a lot of stuff heating up. Now, coming back over to excuse me, Bitcoin has spent the last 3 Junes in a row at 30,000. Can you believe that? Talk about a strong base. Now we had some upside here and we had the, you have light, you have dark, you have up, you have down. So we had the upside ranging above 30K, finding support right at it, losing it, getting rejection right about 25, 27K. And then we broke above it, came down, tested right below it. Now we're back right at $30,000. Think about this. If you ignore the volatility in the market, you'll notice that there's just a lot of movement from large investors, smart investors, big money institutions, as well as smaller players that are buying into the victim mentality of buying the hype and selling the fear. Have a clear strategy with what you're doing in this market. Be clear with what you want and have conviction on the buys that you have. With Bitcoin, especially more than all these different altcoins. Now, I love altcoins, but yeah, you cannot ignore the fact that we have so much uncertainty that is just frothing. I mean, it's just bubbling over with everything going on with the SEC. And I have some news articles that I'm going to bring up here in a second before we dive into some TA, but I want to just bring up a couple things here on the Twitterverse, because Twitter provides you so much value if you're following some of the right people. And I outline a lot of them in BitLab Academy, and we're going to be adding to that as well. But Tyler, he's got a great YouTube channel as well. He's quite funny as well. But we can see the last 1, 2, 3 Junes at 30K. Now coming over here, this is very important right here. Despite, is my computer lagging? I might have to close out. I'm going to have to close out Discord. I don't know why Discord eats up my processor. I do not know why. But we can see right here, despite Bitcoin roughly doubling off its lows, every day a new record has a new record high is set in the amount of supply that hasn't moved in at least a year. Now we see this. See this right here? This is a previous high, and we kind of eclipsed it right about here. So this would be about the beginning of 2020. And we're just kind of, we kind of get these little pullbacks, but we're seeing record supply of last active 1+ year. What does this mean? Why do we care about this? We want to know what's going on with the price. Well, you can't know what's going on with the price. You can't know what's going on with the race car without understanding how much pressure is in the tires, without understanding how well the crankshaft is tuned with the pistons and the timing belts and the airflow. This is what you want to look at when you're trying to understand what's going on with the crypto market. Even if you're only investing in altcoins, if you're not paying attention to the fundamentals, the on-chain data, this supply last active 1+ year on Bitcoin, then you're not doing a good job of doing diligence to understand the fundamentals, the inner workings of what's happening in the environment of the asset class that you're investing in. If you're investing in a coin with a market cap of $100 million and you're not paying attention to Bitcoin, then you're literally just throwing shit at the wall. And I'm sorry to speak like that, but you need to understand what's going on. Supply last active 1+ year is not only long-term holders. Well, think about it. How is this long-term? If you think about traditional assets, 1+ year, 1 year is a drop in the bucket. But when you're talking about Bitcoin, an asset class that's only about 14 years old, we have seen statistical evidence. This is why Glassnode determines short-term holders versus long-term holders. Short-term holders, coins that have been traded within the last 155 days. If I buy a coin from you within the last 155 days, and it's the first time I've bought, that's going to be considered a short-term held coin. And why does that matter? Well, short-term held coins have a much higher, I'm talking astronomically higher instance of being basically succumbing to volatility in the market and not being strong holders. Long-term holders, coins being held for longer than 155 days, if you buy it and you hold it to the 156th day, it's in that long-term holder cohort. And there's one other way to do it, and that is if you are an investor or somebody that's in the market that is buying Bitcoin over time, and 75% or more of the coins in that particular wallet haven't moved, they're essentially long-term held coins, then when you buy a coin, then it will go into that cohort as well. So they have different ways of making sure they're identifying those strong hands versus weak hands. And if we're seeing that we're having basically just a continual up, see price coming down, and we're having this sort of bullish divergence on the strength of the market, the maturity of the market, what we're seeing is maturity of the market over time as price was dropping. But then we get that, the FTX collapse right here. We get this little bit of a base. We had that global liquidity sort of, if we come here, Bitcoin, sorry, it's the wrong page. Let me do Bitcoin strategy platform, and we look at the global liquidity, we see right here, we had that bullish divergence that started right as FTX collapsed, strong divergence in global liquidity coming up sharply. That was a good leading signal that the market was likely going to turn up. Now, one thing I will say, as bullish as I am on what's going on in the market, is we need to pay attention to this right here. We're still seeing the liquidity. We had a little bit of an uptick, but we're still seeing the liquidity pull back on global markets. So this is something that we need to pay attention to. But when we're looking just at the charts and just at the news and what's going on, we can see, let's get back to where we were. We have the supply last active is going up over time. This is strength in the market. Now, one of the things we need to pay attention to when we're looking at something like this is like this time is different than this time. What is different about this time? This time, of course, we had the Mt. Gox collapse, which was somewhere in this region here. I believe it might have been correlated around this top here. And so that, that was a lot of questionability about I don't want to say the legitimacy of the space, but there's a lot of uncertainty in the space at this time because basically I'm talking far and away the majority exchange in the crypto market was Mt. Gox. Here we're seeing, Bitcoin mining ban. This was this dip right here. So not only did we have this, we had a lot of uncertainty in the market here. A lot of people, look at this, a lot of people taking profit into the strength of this trend. So that's this dip here. But then as we're having the FTX collapse, this, I think around here was the Celsius debacle was around here. Then we had the Luna collapse. We had all these things throughout this period right here that was just a cascading failures within the space. And so what we're seeing is a different narrative within the mind of people that are in the space, which is not your coins, not your crypto. What does that mean? If you don't have your coins in your wallet, not in the wallet designated to you on Coinbase, maybe a Coinbase wallet, which is completely separate from holding your coins on exchange at Coinbase. If you don't have your coins in your wallet, trust wallet, instead of on Binance, then you're presenting your coins to the sustainability of and the actions and the decisions that any exchange makes. And as we've seen these cascading failures just go throughout the space, through all this period, we're seeing people just move in droves off of exchange. So part of it is, yes, maturity in the space, but part of it in terms of wanting to hold because they're strong, but a part of it also is people realizing we need to hold our coins off exchange. So, but regardless of what the reason is, they both have the same net effect. What is that? The net effect is if the coins are being held, for long periods of time through catastrophe in the space, or what feels like catastrophe in the moment, we're seeing maturity come in, but we're also seeing essentially I don't want to fully classify these as illiquid, but for the most part, coins that supply that's being held for a year plus is essentially part of the illiquid supply. Illiquid meaning not easy to be traded and to be, to be liquid. And so you're having less liquid supply. So what does that mean? You have less supply available to trade. So what does that mean? Less supply available to trade means the small amount of demand that's there now has more of an impact. So without even increasing demand, you're giving demand more of an impact because there's less available supply. If you know what I'm talking about, throw a 1 in chat right now. Kobe Streets, one more big dip. I don't know if there's going to be a big dip, but I do think there's a possibility for a liquidity washout. So we need to protect ourselves. But there's a lot of things in the charts that's showing a lot of hope going on here. Coinbase wallet is good. It's a non-custodial wallet. Yes. And I just want to make people realize that Coinbase wallet is different from having your coins on Coinbase. If you log into Coinbase and you're able to go and trade those coins, that's not the Coinbase wallet. You need to go Google Coinbase wallet, get involved with that if you want it. It's a separate private keys for your crypto. Now, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. By the way, if you're not following Will, follow Will. He's got so much good stuff on here on a daily basis. Now, coming here, Bitcoin has changed from breaking down important support lines in a bear market to breaking out important resistant lines in a bull market. I don't know what's going on outside, but I hope you guys can't hear that. There's something going on outside the studio. But we see here, let's go ahead and pull this up. This is a critical difference in trends. Downtrend versus uptrend. Downtrend, we have these levels of support, hiccups, daily hiccups. See right here is another level of support you didn't mark, lost it. Support level, lost it. Support level, lost it. Support level, lost it. Larger support level, lost it. Support level, lost it. Larger support level, lost it. Little fake out to the upside. Where did this go? It tested right, look at this, tested right to the lower side of the previous range. So the upper side of this breakdown, this is how you know it's a fake out. It found resistance right at the lower side, the lows right here of this zone right here. Now break down, push up, break down, sideways bottom. This is the FTX collapse. A little bit of a fake out up. Where did this go? Right to the bottom side of this range. You see this? You see how this happens on a regular pattern. Now, this is the difference. Now we have this slight little base here. This is the global liquidity that we were talking about right here. This sharp uptick started, where was this at? Started about right here, somewhere in this zone right here. The liquidity was going up. And what happens when you start putting gas in the car? Well, now you can go on a trip. Do you guys want to go on a trip? Throw a 1 in chat if you want to go on the trip, because I think all of us are going to be going on this trip together. Every single one of you that's here in BitLab Academy, daily streams, we're going. And especially every one of you that's a part of the BitLab Academy over here at bitlabacademy.com. If you haven't checked this out, check it out. And if you haven't joined the mailing list, I'm going to start sending out some great things. Again, we have another giveaway we have to do for people that signed up for this. Let's go ahead and see this right here. There's one winner each month. We're going to get a lot of stuff in here. This is a free newsletter. I try to do it about once a week. It ends up being about once every 7 to 10 days. But now it should be weekly because now I can be focused. So get involved here. If you're not signed up here, get involved. Again, if you haven't seen all the courses we have, that's a completely different BitLab than it was 3 months ago. We rebuilt it from the ground up, all new course, all video with quizzes and tests. We have the BitLab Premium Discord. Come on, get to the courses. What's going on with our internet? Man, there we go. All these courses. And each one of these has, quite a few different lessons and a bunch of stuff in here. So get involved. Now, coming back over to the charts here, to these tweets, see this difference. Support, breakdown, support, breakdown. Now we have resistance. We can also call this resistance flat here. Resistance, breakout, resistance, breakout. So what's going to happen here? We have a lot to talk about right here. Why is that? Because if we zoom in on this, we get back over to where we want to look at. This is exactly where we're at right here. Ooh, sorry. So we had, if we look exactly how he just had it, option T, we have this right here. We have this right here. So break up, break up. Now look at this parallel channel we have, which, on the other chart that I have, which is this one right here. No, it's this one right here. We have a rising wedge. So you can see that there's different ways to draw these different things. And it's good to have different charts with different things outlined, because we see right here, we have this parallel channel right here, but then we also have a little bit, it's a little bit of a stretch, but a kind of a parallel channel that we're pushing up into right here. But we have this area, this region right here that we need to pay attention to. You always want to pay attention to the horizontal supports and resistances. What is the support? When price comes down and finds support and bounces off it, think of dropping a ball. The support level is at the ground at which the ball bounces, right? So we see support, 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 support. Now here we found support again, but now we're at this level here where we have previous resistance. This resistance, is strong because this was previous support, 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 support. You see this? So looking left, gives you that confidence about where important levels are. That's why we took this square box right here. You can also come down here on the left side of your chart, 1, 2, 3, 4 down, hit this little arrow, come down to rectangle, and you can, draw yourself a rectangle wherever you want it. And I drew mine right here where these supports are. Also, we can see here, a lot of price interactivity here. Resistance at the top side, support at the bottom side. So that's why I drew the box like this. Support near the top side of this. So when we push up to this, we can see that we also have this trend lines coming up here that we have a bit of a target right in this zone. So we want to look for confluence of different diagonal support and resistances in confluence with horizontal support and resistances. Now, one of the things I want to point out, and I'll bring it up, actually, I'll bring it up here in a second. Let's move through the rest of these tweets. But this is something that we want to see. This is, essentially a rounding bottom. And then in addition to this, we can really look at this, it's a little loose. If we turn off the log, it's a little clearer, come down here. We can also see we've got a bit of a cup and handle, which this level right where we're at is the neckline. We've already broken out of the handle. Now, look at this. We're finding resistance right here at this neckline. If we were to break out of this zone, this is something I want you to pay attention to. I'm not saying this is actually going to happen, but this is something we always have to draw some levels. So we can draw this from here or from this neckline. I like to be a little more conservative, so let's go ahead and draw it from the breakout point, which we've already done. This tick gives us a sort of target breakout of around, look at this previous high. These previous highs, look, option J. This gives us these previous, see this high, and then we have a lot of interactivity, bounce here, rejection right above it, lost the level here, and the target is right at this level. So we have another target. This is how we draw out what the possibilities are. Let's go ahead and make this a orange. Oh, come on, you can do it. I believe in you. Come on. Yes. Wait, why? Oh, I double clicked. Sacre bleu. There we go. Rectangle. Sometimes these mice. There we go. Now we have our two zones, targets to the upside. Now, do I think we can go higher than that? We can. Why do I say that? Option F. Actually, let's go back to log scale. Let's go option F from the top here to the bottom. And we can see the golden pocket. Look at this. This is also, I didn't even see this before. This is right at the 0.5. This would be a good area to likely take profits before a pullback that goes into the halving and then continuation up. We very well could also get all the way up here to the golden pocket, which has happened previously in past cycles. And this is at 48. The bottom side is $48,000. But there's a lot of people that see this. There's a lot of things going on. So there's no shame in taking profits somewhere in this region right here to sort of front run this to, as it comes back, they re-enter the market when we have the pullback here. And if we see that, what we would do is we go option F from here to the top. So say it goes all the way up to 49,000. Then the golden pocket, I would be buying above this, which is also confluent with about where this neckline is here that we've broken out for. So coming down and testing somewhere in the $33,000 to $35,000 region is a great entry. If this is all speculation, this is if the price comes up like this and gets up to this zone and then pulls back, anywhere in this region, I think is a great area to buy before the price continues up. Now, this is just speculation. So let's go ahead and look at some of the news that we wanted to look at going in here. Now, first thing I want to do is talk about this from ME Ether. Bitcoin has done it. Bitcoin has finally broken free from the weekly. This is a good word right here. When we're talking about signals, the strongest signals you're going to find is when you start seeing them show up on the 3-day, the 4-day, the 5-day, and then especially the weekly. And that is that we've broken free from the weekly Gaussian channel. We've been stuck below since June 2022, 1 year. You see this price action right here? Price action right here. And we've been below not only the channel, but this has also been red for a year. Now, last bull run, breakout of Gaussian channel, retest top of channel, up only. What does she mean? See this back here? Let me go ahead and take my face off. Now look at this chart. This is a great signal, by the way, too. I really like the Gaussian channels because it takes in a lot of data about what's going on with the strength of the market, with the strength of the trend, especially on the weekly. We see we were below it. We broke out, kind of tested it, went sideways, came down, broke out, test the top side of the channel, up only. Now, what I want you to notice is pre-halving, push up, fell back into the channel. This was all green still, by the way, and then broke out again. So we had two breakouts. So this is kind of in line with what I was just talking about here of having that pre-halving push, pull back into the halving, have the price action test somewhere between, I would think 33,000 to 36,000, 37,000, somewhere in this zone here. And that would be perfectly in line with what we're talking about. So this is nice that this is broken free. What we want to see is this to flip green. We want to see this starting to flip green. Okay, now let's go ahead and go through some of the stories of the day. We got 218 people in the room, 132 likes. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe, join us in our community. Check out BitLab Academy. Make sure if you haven't yet, go give me a follow over here. Blue check mark and the hit logo. Make sure you see that at Kelly Kellam. Make sure you're following BitLab Academy right here at Academy BitLab, and check out bitlabacademy.com if you haven't yet. Now, looking at these, I want to go over a couple stories here. Then we're going to dive in and do a bunch of TA. SNB. What is SNB? Almost said Silvergate. Swiss National Bank to pilot wholesale CBDC on 6 digital exchanges. So CBDCs, they're starting. It's going on. So we need to pay attention to this. I don't want to dive into this too much. I'm all about investing in digital assets. I'm not a big fan of CBDCs, but if anybody would do it right, I think out of everybody in the world, it would be the Swiss. So I don't want to see this on the U.S. shores, but we need to pay attention to this, because if things start going well in these other nation states that are enacting and utilizing and implementing CBDCs, we need to pay attention to that, because that's one of those things that they can see is working, that then other nation states start to take on. So we need to pay attention to that. It's inevitable that it's going to happen. So let's just keep an eye on that. Now, next thing I want to point out is right here. U.S. regulators continue crackdown, but here's why the latest charges are different. I read through this and I forgot to highlight where this stuff is. But now the SEC has filed 13 charges against Binance's founder, Chang. Blah, 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 blah. This is all old stuff. These cases are similar to another brought against a crypto company called Ripple, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I had this. I read through so many articles this morning. This is it right here. I did highlight. Research shows around 17% of the U.S. have traded, invested in, or used cryptocurrency. That's right. Only 17%. And that's in, the U.S., the Western world. Think about what it is in most other second and third world countries, and even a lot of think of Europe and Asia. The percentage of people that are actively involved in the digital asset ecosystem is minuscule as to what's going to happen. And not only that, think about this: it's not 17% have 100% of their net worth in it. No, 17%, and I would guess, if you looked at the average amount of the net worth of individuals, think of the mom and pop that put $20 in. Think of also the Raoul Pauls and the Michael Saylors that have put in billions. I think the average is probably disproportionately going to be very small amounts, probably on average less than 3% of their net worth. So even though 17% of the U.S. Has engaged in digital assets of some form, it's still going to be a minuscule percentage on average of what they're worth. So it's such a small amount. The adoption, the amount of adoption and the flood of liquidity that's going to come, especially with the ETFs. And I have some stuff we're going to talk about here with ETFs in a second, which is very bullish. So stay tuned for that. Get involved. Let me know some of the coins that you want to do some TA on in the chat right now. We're going to be getting that here in a little bit. The mods will send me some of the most common ones that you say. Now, let's see. If the crackdown by regulators cuts their access, meaning if the U.S. has on and off ramps cut down, or Coinbase moves out of the country and no longer operates here, or there's, you can only, by the way, all these things that you can't operate, you can't get into. This is your own decision. you have the freedom as a U.S. citizen. If you are in the U.S., I can't speak to other places. You have the ability to go and access anything. Those companies like Bybit and BitGet and all these things that when you go and log in, it says, well, I can't join. It says you're not allowed. No, it means that those institutions, those companies are not allowed to basically, it's more about regulation on them. If you are using a VPN for safety of your digital identity and your digital, your digital footprint, and you're trying to protect yourself, you have access to all those sites. So I'll make some videos on how to use a VPN. You just need to make sure that that you always log in with a VPN. So just note that. We're going to be doing some stuff with BitGet here soon. I've got a big meeting with them on Wednesday. I think they're going to be hosting some BitLab content on BitGet, so teaching people about all the stuff. So regulators in other major financial markets, this is important. This is something that we need to pay attention to. Regulators in other major financial markets could follow the SEC's lead when it comes to crypto rules. The UK's Financial Conduct Authority recently announced new regulations for crypto firms operating in the country. This includes measures to ensure investors know the risks involved, that adverts are clear and not misleading, as well as a ban on refer a friend bonuses. But these rules will only affect the marketing of cryptocurrencies in the UK, so it's a relatively small step. Why am I talking about this? Why does this matter? What I'm talking about here is the US likes to throw its weight around. Am I wrong? I mean, it's unfortunate the way it's just political jockeying. You know, we have money that we throw at problems, and we incentivize or disincentivize countries to do stuff based on what kind of aid and funding we give them for different parts of what's going on in their country, different trade agreements, all this stuff. And the decisions we want to see to shape, because like this, if the U.S. has all these regulations, okay, if the U.S. has all these regulations and every other country out there has the ability for U.S. citizens to skirt those regulations by just going to, Binance UK or, whatever exchange anywhere through a VPN or through whatever, or not even through a VPN, just like go log in through a UK portal. It makes the regulations in the U.S. very ineffective. And it also means that those other countries are gaining from the money earned from all the commerce that's transacted through those other exchanges, because it's outlawed here. So we're funneling people to the shores. We're funneling our dollars to the shores of other countries because of our regulations here, while it's not regulated there. So what the U.S., we're going to start, I think we've already started to see it, is basically putting pressure on other countries to tighten up their regulation, similarly to what's going on in the U.S. about what we're doing here, in similar form. So that's why we're seeing a lot of this pressure on the UK, Binance leaving UK, leaving Netherlands, leaving Norway, or whatever it was. There's all these other in France, all of it is tied together with what the U.S. wants. So we need to pay attention to this, because we really need to get hashtag fire Gary Gensler. Throw that in chat right now if you agree. We need to get the SEC out, because we need to have meaningful. We don't not need regulation. We need regulation, but we need regulation that is empowering and impactful, not this just shoddy sort of regulation by enforcement, because they're just trying to get their claws in deeper before it truly takes off. So just know that. What's up, Crypto JMP? How you doing? Shout out to everybody in chat here. If this is your first time, by the way, my name's Kelly Kellam. Welcome to the show. If you haven't yet, hit that subscription button. Join our community here. We're full of empowerment. It's all positivity here. We talk about how we can navigate going forward. We talk about the tools, tips, and tricks and signals, and how to read the charts. We try to throw that rope back for beginners. So sometimes we break down things on a basic level as well. So if anything I'm saying is going over your head, it's okay. And at that point, I do want to say, make sure you come over to the BitLab Academy page right here and follow us, youtube.com/@BitLab Academy. make sure you're following the right one, and come scroll down to the daily alpha. Watch these if you're new in crypto, especially if you're having trouble with TradingView, watch the Pro TradingView guide. If you want to understand how to find reversals, if you want to see the nature between Bitcoin and banks and the true macro over the next few years, there's a lot of great stuff here. Finding the next 100X. We got a lot of stuff here, so definitely come and join our community. And I also want to shout out BitBoy. I will be doing the TA on the show today. I'll be doing it every Monday and Tuesday on that show. So definitely stick around and head over to that show after we do this. Now, a couple more things we want to talk about. U.S. regulators, blah, blah, blah. Japan tax code now exempts crypto issuers from paying on unrealized gains. I didn't even know that they had to pay tax on unrealized gains. So it's good that I don't know if that was the case, if they just wasn't clear, but this is good. Nobody should pay tax on unrealized gains. That is criminal for a government to do that. Next thing here, we want to just look at, this is the main nugget of information I want to talk about. Could Bitcoin be on the verge of major price surge? Prominent Bitcoin ETF witnesses largest inflow in over a year. What is this? I believe this is Bitto. So yeah, ProShares, Bitto, which I actually, one of my investment funds that I pay monthly, I have it automatically withdrawn from my bank account on the first of every month, goes into Vanguard, Bitto, and another sort of joint, basically, investment account. It's split evenly between all these, but on that traditional asset investment, I still have 5%. It doesn't let me do more than 5% Bitcoin ETF. So we can see that this has recorded a substantial weekly inflow of 65 million, reflecting a resurgence of institutional interest in Bitcoin futures. This is important. This is showing that basically fire got lit with BlackRock coming in and putting in their application for a spot ETF. It's really starting to reignite that fire. We can see on the charts here. This broke out basically in conjunction with that news, reigniting, seeing a lot of positive fundamental developments within the space. And so we can see this playing out not only in the news. If you're not paying attention to the news, you can see that. Show me the charts. I'll tell you the news. There's some huge fundamental, this wasn't a choppy, even on the 3-day, look at this, bam, straight up. So we're seeing some really good stuff here. The resurgence of Bitcoin ETF trading has a positive impact on Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, and a new wave of applications for spot ETFs has followed the BlackRock filing. So this is just important. I just wanted to point that out. We don't need to go into the charts into the news, because we want to get into the charts. 49 more likes. Awesome. Let's get those things popping. 151 likes, 204 people in the room. I appreciate each and every one of you. I really, truly do. So now looking here, Bitcoin spot market remains calm. ETFs in the lead. This is why that thumbnail today, ETFs starting the run. This is actually something we want to see, not because of the ETF, but because of these ETF futures. There's a lot more smarter money, traditional money, bigger money that's involved with these futures ETFs. And so if we're seeing a resurgence of capital flow into these ETFs, what we're seeing is a strong base layer of conviction coming into the market right when we're at a critical juncture. I think we're about 308, 307, 300, maybe 302. Let's see. Where is it? We're very, this is not what I see. The halving progress. Here we go. Yeah, we've got, we're pretty, this is not much, this is not far to go for the halving. Now you see this halving here, had a push up, which we've had a little bit of this push up here similarly. And we had another strong push up. This doesn't look big, but this is, the price was, this was probably 80 to 100% move. Let's see what this was. This was May 18th, 2016. Let's look at this on the chart. May 16th, 2016. Let's go ahead and zoom out. May 16th, 2016. May. This is right here. So let's go ahead and zoom in on this. This is a the 79% push up. Now this is a 2016 pre-halving push. Okay, the halving was right into this. Now, how do I know that? Because we've looked at charts. If we can also just do this, Bitcoin halving dates. Look at this, push up, a little bit of sell off after it, the speculative push up, front running it, people taking some of the profits, push down, found support right here. I believe this is a 50. Yeah, it's a 50. This is a 50 EMA, came down, found support, and lift off from there. We look right here, 2019. This had an early run comparatively. We see this. This was a little push up, a lot of sideways, a little push up, sell off, continuation for the parabolic sort of. And this is kind of what it looked like when we were doing it. This is why we say it was a parabola. This is what this is. Bam. Now where we're at here in where we were at here in 2019, we had a lot earlier push up, stronger sell off, and then a little push up. This probably would have had a much smaller sell off. This was a global economic shutdown, March 2020, and then continuation up after it. All right, a little bit of sideways action, then continuation up. Now, this was a 300% push. Now, I don't think we're going to get either one of these scenarios. I think we're going to get something that's probably a little bit of splitting the difference between the two. But if we look at this on the chart, we come here to double click on the chart. Okay, now if we look at where we're at here, this would be, we go all the way up to this up to the $42,000 level. That would be about 57% push. If we get all the way up to the golden pocket that we talked about earlier, this would be 86% push. So this would be very in line with the 2015-2016 cycle. So you see, I don't want any of you to get hung up on looking at 2019 and thinking we're going to do 300% pre-halving. I don't want you to also get hung up on 2016 and think we're only going to get 86%. It's going to be neither. It's going to do its own thing. Bitcoin is going to move where the speculation in the market moves based on the news and the context that is surrounding it this cycle. You need to be focused on all the signals that we're seeing in the charts this cycle. Look left, zoom out, look left, get a little bit of an idea of a roadmap, but you need to look at what's happening right now in the chart, where we're at with all the signals, and then you can make a better, more informed decision that is built on the confluence of different horizontal support and resistances in confluence with diagonal support resistances with all your different momentum signals and indicators so that you can make a good, smart, informed move. Oh, hi. Man, I don't know what happened there. I'm dying. Doctor said I need a throatiotomy. All right. I apologize if I just blew out all your speakers. I got like the ultimate tickle in the throat. I was trying not to cough that whole time. I think it just backed up. All right, so let's look at this. It's time for some TA. Let's do some turbo TA. We're going to do a bunch here. What did we get in the chat? Let me go ahead and open up my Discord. Boom, boom, boom. You guys didn't send me any, so we're just going to do a bunch. That's what we're going to do. Let's go ahead first. Look at coin market cap. Come here. I'm going to hit it on my watch list. That way I can cut out some of the noise. 30 days. We are down. 30 days down. We got Bitcoin is down the most, but you also remember it had such a huge push up. You know, these smaller coins are going to have some volatility. Does this mean it's setting up for another opportunity? Well, this is one of the ways I identify maybe there's something on some of these coins that have pulled back so significantly. We can also see Bitcoin. This is impressive. This is a narrative of what's happening in the market right now. Flight of liquidity to Bitcoin. How do we know that? Look at this on this this list of coins here that I have here. This isn't all the coins, but this is on this list. You know, we can see Bitcoin's performing the best. Altcoins are kind of secondarily moving to Bitcoin because of all the pressure that's happening on the digital asset ecosystem. So let's see all the things that have suffered. Bitcoin, Matic, Render's down, Cardano, Arweave, Decentraland, yeah, Cardano. So let's go ahead and look at some of these. I'm going to kind of keep this up. I'm going to put this over here so I can see it. There we go. Man, I got lightheaded there for a second. I think the market's just, whew. Stretch time, everybody. Okay. So we talked about Bitcoin. We know what we're looking at here. Let's go ahead and look at a couple things. One of the things I want to look at on this weekly chart, we see this yellow line here and the red line. We had the 50 and the 200 week. Now, we've never had the 50 below the 200 week before, and thus we've never had a golden cross with the 50 and the 200. And so what do I mean by that is this moving average coming back and crossing back above the 200-week moving average. Now, the interesting thing about this is this would be a very, very strong bullish sign. We also see the money flows coming up. We also see stochastics are kind of struggling a little bit, but they came down. Look at this. I cannot make this up. This came down right. Let's go right on the 50 line. Stochastics came down, bounced right on the 50 line. Let's go right here, right on the 50 line on the RSI. Option J. RSI came down, is holding on the weekly above the 50 line. This is saying right now the bulls are in control just on this metric. Now we also see the MACD on the weekly has crossed a little bit of a fake out to the downside and has crossed back bullish. This is something we want to see. Let's see what it looks like on the monthly. I'm not even going to look at so look at this. Look at this cross on the monthly MACD for Bitcoin. This is incredibly bullish. We can see that on this histogram, dark red and then light. This means this is diverging, meaning these two moving averages are going farther apart. Momentum is increasing to the downside. This turns light pink, meaning these two moving averages you see right here, you can't tell just by looking at this, but because these are light pink on the histogram, it means these are slowly moving closer together, and then we get a very sharpening of how fast these are tightening. And look at this cross that's about to happen. If we look right here, option V, let's go option V. Okay, now what I want to look at here on the chart, okay, this is when it crossed to the downside. Look at this follow through to the downside. This is when last time it crossed to the upside. Look at this follow through to the upside. So does this mean that we are in for that pre-halving pump that everybody's been waiting for? Well, it's looking good. If we get down to the 4-hour chart, we can see we've got a little bit of a base up here. We're holding option T gives us, or alt T. Anytime I say option, if you're on PC, think alt. Now we got a little bit of a bull pennant here. So if we do this, option T again gives us our flagpole. Now we can go like this. Now let's go ahead and zoom out. I'm not making this up, guys. Remember that target that I pointed out earlier, just based on the confluences of this diagonal resistance and this horizontal resistance? Look exactly where this bull pennant, it goes right to the middle of this target. And this is right about the 35.9 to 36.5 zone. So does this mean it's going to go like this straight up? Not necessarily, but I will say this is a very strong resistance level. So I can imagine that there's a lot of shorts. There's a lot of liquidation points here, and a lot of that, for people, if there are people still on the negative side here, on the bear side, I don't want to say negative, on the bear side, this could move very quickly up. But what's most likely to happen is, let's kind of go like this. Let's take from here, option F. Actually, wrong direction. I want to go option F. That's what I want to do. So this is what it's looking like it's going to happen. We have now from this point down here to this point, we have our fib extensions. If you need your fib extensions, double click on your fib and you can come over here and you can add whatever you want, the 1.618, the 1.382. You can also add the 1.236 if you want. I don't use that one as often, but we can see that barring no price action over here, see how quick this transported up, meaning down. This was very quick. It's likely going to mean that when we come over here, when this starts moving up again, there's not a lot of points that we can look to for price action for where this may hesitate. So what I'm seeing is probably something like this coming up in this zone maybe, and then coming up to reach this zone right up here. That's what I'm seeing on Bitcoin. If we do lose this level, then what I want to see, if we do lose this level, then what I want to see, if we go option F from here to here, let's go ahead and delete this. What I want to see is for this, I wouldn't want to see this fall very far. I mean, it very well could come all the way down here. I think this would, because of the questionability in the space right now, I think this did come all the way down to this zone right here. We probably would be testing back to this region. If this comes down, I'd like to see this hold above really this golden pocket, because it's this high right here. It's this high right here in line with where the golden pocket is. So this is what I'd really want to see. I'd like to see it hold above 28.2, you know, bounce here and then come up if it does break down. If it goes up, I'd like to see it actually follow through in volume, like this volume here. So that's what I'm seeing on Bitcoin. Let's do Ethereum. Ethereum. F, yeah. All right. So, all right. Daily. Okay. Okay, this is a little bit different story here. Man. I think I sneezed too hard. Put my heart in a weird rhythm. Okay. Ooh. Feeling lightheaded. I'm not sure why. Maybe I woke up too early and didn't eat breakfast. Yo no sé. But the show must go on. Okay. Let's go ahead and look. Let's go ahead and do this one with Market Cipher. And look at this. Okay, we do on the daily, had the green dot, got the move. But look at this, rolling over. These are at flat levels. But not only is this is flat levels, we have a small bit of bearish divergence. These peaks are higher than this peak. This is looking like it's about to clip for a potential test to the downside. So on this note, let's go ahead and draw this a little bit further out. If this does break down on Ethereum, then I want to see it really bounce on this 0.382. If we lose that, then this is our line in the sand. If we lose that, then we're probably going to be testing back down into this region. As it stands right now, this is a bull flag. So, you know, what we can do here, same thing. Come over here, grab our trend line. We'll do it from this point right here, drag it up. And this would basically be getting us to test up just below the high of this region here, which is up at the 2,000, you know, just over $2,000 level. Now we do have a lot of levels that we need to pay attention to here. We can look left on this chart. We can see that there's levels that this may get front ran and stop right at this level. So we need to pay attention to this. So that's what I'm seeing on Ethereum. Let's go down to Cardano. Sorry, we were talking about a bunch of updates coming to basically overhaul of the BitLab trading stack. It's going to be all new. We're going to integrate all the stuff into stuff on the candles and one unified signal window down at the bottom. The current one is great as it is, but we are going to be upgrading it to make it easier for everybody to use, and some new signals and some new, all that kind of stuff. So just a shout out there. That's going to be coming around the second week of August. Now, Cardano. This is looking similar to Algo, I think, in that we have kind of a double bottom here. Yes, we had the wick below it, but if we look at these candle bottoms, candle bodies, we have essentially, if we look at this on the weekly, yeah, we look at this on the weekly, we essentially, if we come down here to path, kind of have this boom, boom, boom. Are we going to see this? If we see this, this would be fantastic. This would be a giant W, double bottom. That's what I'd really like to see. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. It's what I want, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen. So we have to plan for. So we have a bit of a parallel channel. This is kind of like what we were seeing on Chainlink. And remember how long Chainlink went sideways? Let's go ahead and look at it. Where is the link at? Here. This went sideways from May 2022 all the way to here till it actually broke out below it, is kind of back up in the zone. But we have this parallel channel coming right here that took a year. Is that something that Cardano is going to see? It's very possible. Why do I say that? It's very possible because it's not what I want to do, you sucker. It's very possible because it has the weight of the uncertainty around the SEC. So looking at Cardano on the daily, we see we got this bit of a double bottom. We have this, you know, sort of cross back down to the downside. Let's see what the EMA ribbon looks like. We are below the EMA ribbon on the daily. We're finding resistance in it. So this is not looking good as it is. Stochastics are basically topped out a bit. And we're only barely pushing into this EMA ribbon. Let's go ahead and go like this. MACD is starting to cross over. Look at this. This is a sign that we want to look for on the push up. What happens with the RSI? RSI is getting rejected right here. We're getting rejected below the 50 line. So this is not looking good for Cardano. So if we're looking at it like that, and we see that we not only are in a downtrend, but so we want to go like this. And then there we go. Now let's come down to the 4 hour. 4 hours looking weak. So this looks like a stair step. You know what I'm talking about? Boom, 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 boom. If I were to, yeah, this is trying. On the daily, it's looking very weak, but on the 4 hour, maybe we're getting the start of a new narrative. This is why you need to look at multiple time frames. On the 4 hour, we've broken back above the EMA ribbon, but we're right now struggling to hold above it. So what we want to see on the 4 hour, we have this sort of bull flag right here. This is maybe what's going to happen. Why? Because look at this target goes directly to where the resistance level is above it. And actually, if we drew this more correctly, and what I did there, I didn't move it based on this. I moved it based on this touching the appropriate tops here. See? And look at where this target goes. Right exactly to, just shy of that area. So are we going to see it? Well, we do see the stochastics have fully reset. It could go a little lower. Money flow is coming out, though. So this is a concerning thing. This could be a fake out because we have the bullish impulse with the bull flag, but we have the money flow coming out. We have the money flow coming out, as you can see right here, right? But we do have stochastics reset. So this is waiting on some sort of impulse one direction or the other. And that's the direction it's going to go. If we do lose this, the key level I'd be looking for first is 25 cents. If we lose 25 cents, I do think I think we're going to be testing 25 cents and then down to probably into the that 20. If we lose the 25 cent level, I think we're actually coming lower. Potentially, we'll just say that. I don't want to give a target right now. I want it to play out a little bit more. Now, let's look at what was some of these things. Polygon, let's look at Matic. Where's my Matic at? Matic. Let's look at Algo first because I can see it right there. Okay, now. So look at this. Double bottom. Now we have far too many. So as we're seeing here, we're kind of reaching this level. So if Algorand holds here, this would be phenomenal. Now, directly above us, we can see our key levels. I already mapped them all out, but I would mark this one, option J, right here as well, because this is a low. If this bounces up and cannot take this low, then this is going to test this again and potentially lose it. Stochastics are already overheated. This is the daily. This is getting rejected, or trying to get rejected at just above the 50 line on the RSI. MACD is looking, it's starting to roll over. So let's go down to the 4 hour. 4 hours looking, look at this, resistance right at this level right below it. It's starting to roll over to front run this. Sellers profit taking, fear is front running the low here. It's not even able to get up to this. What do I mean by that? This is a level, you sucker. Here we go. So if this can't take this moving average and take this, then I do think we're testing down here to the, man, this is probably testing 10.3, 10.4. And if we're not able to hold that, then, I do think we'd be going lower. But as it stands right now, this is trying. but it's trying with weakness. Happy Money Monday. Thank you, Jeanette. Thank you so much. I appreciate the super chat. You guys make me so happy. I love seeing the super chats in here. It helps keep the lights on, I'll tell you what. And I just spent all my money on a new place. So thank you very much, Jeanette. I appreciate you. And I see you on all the Twitter spaces I do. I see you in here. I see every one of you that's on these things on a daily basis. I see it. I know Crypto Pollo 1. Is there a lifetime for the BitLab stack? There is not currently. We may do one in the future. I don't know if we're going to do the lifetime or maybe longer term yearly, like a yearly thing, but we're talking about it. We have a huge overhaul coming to that here in about a month and a half. So keep a lookout for that. Money flow is coming out like this. Unless this comes down and bounces like this and comes up, if this money flow is coming out, this stands no chance to continue higher. So we just need to pay attention to that. Now let's do, what was the one I was going to do? Matic. Where is my Matic? Boom. Matic. Okay. We have the falling wedge that this fell out of. Yes, this is a bullish structure, but we got terribly bearish news. We got the bearish fear creeped in when they were listed as a potential security. So understanding that gives us some understanding as to, is this a coin you should never invest in again? No, it's just something that has some regulatory uncertainty in it now. So if you bought up here, maybe this is frustrating, but this is also, if you are bold and you look at the data, rather than just being scared of what price is doing, look at the data, not the price. The data suggests with their partnerships that Polygon has. Do you guys know how many, let's see, Polygon, Matic, partnerships? You guys do not understand. This is from January 2023, top 10 partnerships. This isn't even all of them. Look at this. We've got DraftKings, Nothing. I don't even know what Nothing is. Stripe, Reddit, the Disney company, Adidas, now NFL, Starbucks, Adobe, Meta. I mean, there's some powerhouse partnerships. Okay, so is price down? Yes, that means opportunity is up. Understand that. The point is here is to try to identify where the specific best opportunity is. Okay, that's what we want to do. Now, this is broken on the 4-hour above the EMA ribbon, but we have our key level. Let's see right here, the blue line. Yes, this is a bull flag, but it very well could be a fake out. Money flow's coming out on this as well. I want to see the money flow starting to trickle up before I'm more confident in any of these altcoins. Now, H-bar, let's look at H-bar. Okay, H-bar, we have some, I don't know what's going on. I must have been drawing some stuff for you here. Option T. So look at this, point. And from these 2 points, I just dragged this across. Didn't even look anywhere over here. I'm just trying to make this line up there. Then I look and I happen to see that this line is very, important. Not only that, look at this. On H-bar, we have a broadening wedge like this. Broadening wedges aimed to the upside, typically break out to the downside. Money flow was coming out, but is money flow, this is the first one where I'm seeing money flow starting to come back in. And look at this. Let's actually not do a brush. Let's do an arrow. We have the stochastics reset. We have the money flow. We have the MACD is still expanding, but it's starting to roll over. See this? How do I know that? This is bigger than this one. This is bigger than this one. This is bigger. This is even bigger. And then now we're getting these smaller, this rounding. This is starting to round. We want to see that follow through. As it stands right now, RSI is below 50, but it's starting to bounce basically about the 45 line right here. So if this is able to get back above the 50 line and we see money flow coming back in, this may be making an attempt to break out of this downtrend right here, which would be fairly bullish for H-bar. But we have conflicting signals. We have a bearish sort of structure here with this broadening wedge, and we're finding resistance at this level. If this does something like this with a small fake out up to this region, not even getting back up here, if this gets here and gets rejected, then I do think we're going to start to see that money flow come back out. But what else we got? Let's do a couple more. Let's do Arweave. We're doing a bunch of ones we haven't done lately. Okay, we don't even really need a trend line. We can kind of see option T. You all should be able to do this just as quickly as I'm doing it. All you need to do is zoom out, find a point, touch it to another point, especially the further back you go that connects multiple points, the stronger that support and resistance is. So now this is looking like, look, down, stair step, down, stair step, down, stair step, down. Is this going to be a stair step or a breakout? Well, this had a much sharper down. So could this be an inverted Bart Simpson and then rocket back up to about this level here? Option J. Well, let's see. We have a couple stopping points here. This stopping point right in this block. This is going to be something that we want to see. Is there going to be a rejection or a breakout through this zone? Because this is where the price action is here, and it's just above this diagonal level of resistance. So how many people we got in the room? We got 167 people in the room, 173 likes. Everybody hit that like button, hit everything. You know what I mean? I love you all. I appreciate you all. I'm going to be doing TA, Bitcoin, maybe another coin on the BitBoy show here in just a few minutes. So make sure you're heading over there. I really do love and appreciate you all. And I really appreciate each one of you that sends the super chat and all the questions you ask. And I really just want to see everybody succeed. So let's go on this journey from 5K to 100K together. I love you all. I appreciate you all. With that, I bid you adieu. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for coming. Thank you for always tuning in. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for being here. I want you to hit that like button, subscribe, and be my friend. I love you all. Hit that like button, sucker. I'll see you later.